Hi, welcome everybody to the series of Hall of Fame. Today, I'm proud to bring in Esha Mukherjee. She is our Hall of Fame achiever, and Hall of Fame is something where people have been able to healthfully lose up to 10 kgs of weight. I mean, 10 kgs of weight, along with great benefits to their health. So, welcome, Esha, and congratulations to Esha as well. Little bit about Esha. Esha has been a management consultant and trainer for 15 years, and now she is back to her passion of freelance writing and editing. She also heads a company called Rubico. So over to Esha. Esha, would you like to tell us something about yourself that I have not covered in the introduction?
Thank you so much for having me, Ruma. It's a pleasure, it's an honor and a privilege to be here talking to you, sharing my journey, sharing the ups and downs, and as it happens. And I'm really pleased that I have something exciting to share, which I hope will inspire people, just as I've been inspired at some point. So I grew up in the northeast of India. I had my schooling in the Northeast and in Jaipur, and I had the privilege to live in many parts of the country. So I'm a bit of a collection of all the places I've lived in. And so it's been all over India, it's been Mauritius, it's UK, we lived in Bristol and in Manchester. So I think I have a bit of everything. And what this has taught me very early on is the fact that you need to pick things up as you go. So it has made me a very adaptable person, and I've also been very keen to pick up things to learn. So I now call myself a lifelong learner because I'm always learning things, and there's never any end to it. The more you learn, the more you realize how little you know. So I go about my journey and keep learning and keep updating myself on many new things. As a person, I am into writing. I love reading. I absolutely love theater. It would have been a vocation if I had the trainings. Um, I am into amateur singing.
Wow.
Photography has been a passion for me for the past 6, 7 years. And I love collecting sunset and sunrise pics. So I call myself the Sky Girl. I have a page where I've been uploading these pictures, and I hope to have an exhibition someday. My book is coming up this year. So I'm very ready. I'm absolutely ready to publish, become a published author. In a dream. So that's about me in short. Yeah.
Wonderful, Esha, and that's so much about you. So thank you so much for sharing. You are a person with a lot of hidden talents, and we have to start exploring that more. So thank you so much for sharing that, Esha. Lovely to have you today. And Esha, if you can, the kind of what we are going to talk about. This is the series of Hall of Fame. So congratulations once again for hitting that. If you could share with our audience what when you joined the Women's Health Mastery Program. What was your life like? What was your health condition like? If you can throw a little bit light on that.
Sure. So, like everybody else, I think it was the year of the pandemic, 2020, had forced me into a kind of a reset, because everyone was at home. I was overwhelmed with work, with responsibilities at home. My mother was unwell at that point, so we had frequent visits to the hospital, surgeries, and everything else. I was just drowning in overwhelm, and I thought this is probably a time when, instead of just getting into the flow of things, I need to do an audit. And it was that audit I did which actually set me off in many directions, one of which was the health transformation journey. And I should say, if I went in it, probably I would not have been ready for the journey I undertook with Navita in March. So I started changing a few things in the lifestyle, like the time to eat, the time to go to bed, waking up early, taking time out for meditation, and doing a project once a week that would make me happy. And with small changes, I realized over a period of 3 or 4 months was leading me on to become a completely different person, in spite of the fact that nothing was changing around me. And that got me interested in circadian rhythm. I started reading up on it, and it was like a mine of information. So I had already got into that, and I think I was mentally prepared to get into a program to do something about, because weight loss wasn't the only thing in my mind. I was struggling with migraine. I've been having migraine for the past 25 years. Stress has been a part of life like everyone else, and I think I was putting on weight because I had a hysterectomy about 5 years back, and suddenly I realized that I was weight was spiraling. It wasn't something that I could check even if I wasn't eating sugar or sweets or fries or anything. It was beyond control. So what happened is, around this time I started checking out a lot of places for courses, for trainings. Nothing was working out, like it was there, but nothing really was telling me, okay, this is it. And accidentally I chanced upon a webinar on Facebook, and it was by you, and something told me, something clicked in me. I said, let me check this out. This is the very first time I actually clicked a link which promised some change would be happening, and because there's so many of these. I went on to the seminar, the webinar, and it was eye-opening, absolutely eye-opening. I felt it was very promising. I felt I could do something here, and I joined in, and I was on track for some big change going to happen to me. And so thank God for that.
Thanks to you for that decision, Esha.
So that set me on, and I think we had the webinar on the 4th of March. 10th of March, I still remember the date. I was very excited. I was putting it in my, so I used to have a habit tracker where I would track things down. And because I was already into the habit of doing that, it was easy for me when I transitioned into the Navita starter kit.
Yeah.
I just knew that things were falling in place because the system was set already.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is one thing we women often don't do, because we are always working around everyone else's schedules in the family, the
Priorities, yeah.
husband, the children, the elderly parents. But this is the first time I actually created. So interestingly, I just forgot to mention this. At the beginning of the year, I also have a blog. So in my blog, we have this word of the year. So
Okay.
January 2021, the word of the year for me was nurture.
Uh-huh.
And I said, I'm going to nurture myself this year, physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, everywhere. So, it fell in place. It was because the universe was conspiring. I believe that the universe was helping me. That's why I met you. I met so many other interesting people who were along with me on this journey. And that was the beginning of what I call the magical journey.
Wow, wow. Thanks so much for sharing that. And the word that you used, Esha, nurture, I believe in it as well. I think, and we all have that same, I think we all go together in this community because we have the same value system and we believe in certain aspects, nurturing being one of them, and nurturing not just for health, but nurturing also emotionally, physically, all around, right? Developing ourselves as people as well. So health has no meaning if we do not develop all the other areas of life. So tell us a little bit about that journey, Esha, from the time. So this was before you joined, and now that you are, in the Navitai journey, how has that journey been? What did you do that helped you achieve this significant milestone? So tell us everything about that.
So when I set out, I remember the first meeting I had with you, Ruma, and I remember being skeptical about just one thing, because I was at a stage in life where I thought, when you're in menopause, everyone says weight loss just slows down, metabolism just slows down. So my only worry was, yeah, what if I give it my 200%? What if things still don't work? It was back of my mind. I had that issue, but I think you convinced me, that, this is not going to get in the way. You just do your best, and, we are with you. I'm with you to support you. And I just went with that faith. I think having that faith was very, very important for me to begin with. And every single day when I would, put my mat down and, start my workout, I did it with full honesty, Ruma. I think that is one thing I have to say. despite the workload, despite we didn't have maid, we didn't have home help, nothing was happening then, because of the lockdown still on. And yet, I think there were setbacks, setbacks like one day I woke up with a migraine. There was a day when my son was very unwell. My husband was unwell. He had plantar fasciitis for a couple of months. So it was very painful to see him. But, taking time out for myself, saying that, if I don't fill my cup, how am I going to fill the cup for the others in the family?
Absolutely.
And I think that helped. That mindset helped. Rather than thinking that, I'm being selfish, that I'm looking after my needs, I started looking as, I'm caring for myself so that I can care better. And I think those hiccups came and go. I call them hiccups because, they are as important. Your problems are as important as you make them to be. If you can just live with them, there's some problems like my migraine doesn't disappear. So I make it sit next to me very peacefully. And I say, okay, let me get on with my life. I won't make this the focus of my life. So the focus changed. Eating right, drinking enough water, getting the sunlight, exercising 6 days, some days even 7 days a week. I was so enthusiastic. Reading the articles, I was mentally, emotionally, psychologically, and I think you need that dedication to do anything in life. So that has helped, Ruma. That has helped. So, checking every week. And I was having a very healthy weight loss of 500 grams, 400 to 500 grams per week, which was good for me. I had a lot of energy. I was not really looking forward to the nap in the afternoons because I was fine,
Yeah.
I would do a 20-minute meditation in the afternoon to, energize myself.
Wonderful.
And I think at the end of the starter kit, 3 months down, I had lost close to 4.7 kilos, which was absolutely amazing. It was such a morale booster. It was such a wonderful thing. My family was happy, that there was some results coming from the efforts. And the tough thing was giving up on rice, because as a Bengali, we don't eat rice twice a day, but once a day was a thing, I love my, we call it dal bhat. I love dal bhat. I don't like fancy food, but for me, that's comfort food.
Right.
And giving up on a comfort food was a challenge. But, when I took it up, I was like, that's me. If I'm in it, I'm in it. Then the beginning of accelerator kit happened in, when was it? End of May. May I started, it's in June I started. And then I think my system was set, my timetable was set, routine was set, and even things were falling in place. So there were a few problems. I think one problem that many people face in the accelerator kit is that they reach a point where they kind of plateau. So your weight doesn't budge at all. You just don't know. And also, I think what happens is you slacken a bit because you're already into it. You think, oh, okay, I'm doing it, and life catches up and things come. And so I think if that is the time again when you need to take stock, you need to do a re-audit and say, where am I going wrong? So I did that, and I realized that maybe sunlight was not enough, maybe my water intake wasn't enough. So it wasn't really a problem, All I had to do was just buckle up my shoes and say, okay, start again with full sincerity.
Yeah. Keep bringing your back in again. Absolutely.
And the meetings, I think the Monday meetings were a very, very important part of, keeping consistent, because I think every session that you had, the best part about the Navitay program, I feel, is the way you as a coach, always keep track of our progress, always keep making us accountable for it, because I think we all need somebody like that, to do. It just feels good, but it also makes us take it seriously and feel accountable. So I think that makes this program very different from the rest of whatever I've heard about, the other programs. And thanks to Ruma, you are an absolutely excellent coach. I look up to you. I would love to emulate you in the way you run things. And I think your personality, the way you are as a person, I think that shines through. And that is what we all feel, keeps us going in this
Thank you so
Yes.
much, Esha, for all the good words. So, Esha, thanks so much for sharing. Tell us a little bit about, you said 4.7 was with the starter kit, and then
Yes.
what happened with the remaining 5.3 kgs? Tell us a
With,
little bit about
with
that.
the remaining 5.3, I reached a total of 10.5.
Okay, excellent. And how
Yes.
long did that take you,
And
Esha?
it took me 6 months, but the last 500 grams took me another month.
Uh-huh. Yes. The last bit is always
Yes, the
yeah.
last bit. I
Right.
10 kilos happened by October, so which was
Uh-huh.
actually 6 months. And then just to bring it down to 10.5, it took me another month because it
Uh-huh.
was quite stubborn. I think it was just testing my patience. But I'm also not giving in.
Yes.
So, and it's still continuing. I believe, the journey is still on. I lost another almost what should I say, 5.2, 5.3 or more, and continued. There was a little plateauing here and there, but it wasn't major. I think June was 1 month when I plateaued. I think for almost 4 to 5 weeks I was
Uh-huh.
much stuck, but it has never happened since then. I have been on, and I follow whatever I have been instructed
Mm-hmm.
very sincerely. I think that is very important.
Well,
you
yeah,
know
absolutely. Thanks so much for sharing that. Yes, and good that you mentioned Plato, Esha, because it is a very, very common thing that happens. And then what was different about you was you did not give up. Oftentimes, what I see, and where as we work with many, many people across the world, what I see is that just a week of no progress and people are back to feeling demotivated, right? But that is what was different about you, and I want to commend you for that you did not give up, because it's not something that will turn around in a week. It has taken us many, many years to get into this condition. Maybe some of
Absolutely.
it was our choice, some of it was how our body is structured, a woman's body is built. It took us many years to get there. So not having the result in 1 week is not bad. It is what we need to work on is what we can do, right?
Yes.
Our discipline, our habits, our behavior, and our mindset towards our progress. The another thing I also caught from your what you were when you were explaining, Esha, in full passion, was the positivity you have in your mind,
Yes.
the faith, the belief that often goes miles, because mind and body are so strongly connected that if we feel negative, the negative emotions, negative thoughts, negative words, they all have an impact on our overall system. We often do not realize it. We say, I am disappointed, I am frustrated. All of these are negative words, and they run a negative energy in our body. Somewhere or the other, that negative energy comes in, whether it be health, whether it be weight loss, whatever it be. It defines us as a person, and it defines our health as well. So thank
Absolutely.
you so much for sharing that. I couldn't I couldn't stop myself from just picking on that and elaborating that a little bit. So having said that, Esha, if you can also share with us any challenges that you faced on the way, and how did you overcome them?
Okay, so I think for me the key challenge when I switched to the no grain diet, I think that was the first big challenge for my body. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a challenge so much for the mind because I was very keen to try that out for a long time. I
Mm-hmm.
just wanted to do it with under someone's supervision. And since it was for me easy because I knew that someone who's experienced, who knows everything, has been instructing me. All I need is to follow. So because I have migraine, I have a history of migraine, and that somewhere is connected with my eating patterns.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized that when I stopped the grains, I had a headache, and that kind of snowballed into a full-blown migraine. I had that twice. I tried, and on both occasions I had that migraine. Incidentally, around that time I think we had a one-on-one as well, when you suggested, why don't you, instead of just abruptly stopping it, maybe just have half, reduce the portions and have it. And I think that was absolutely amazing, that tip, because that was the key. So when people are on a diet, I think the abrupt switching into a new pattern of eating doesn't work for everyone. So that,
Absolutely.
yes, so my body took time to do
Mhm.
that. Also, when I gave up fruit for a while, I had the same problem of, not being able to pass motion. I felt that some things were not right in my body. I couldn't pinpoint it. I had a little slack in my energy as well.
Mhm.
And so I think it was just tweaking day to day, making sure that, but keeping positive,
Mhm.
that this is not, because sometimes we think this is not working for me, okay, I'm going back to my old pattern of eating. And that is something we shouldn't be doing. So it took time,
Absolutely.
as you said, right? It's not a matter of a few days. It takes time. Switching, that was my big stumbling block. The other one, big problem that I think health wise, I didn't have anything else, Ruma. I was just very consistent. And I think this was for me, that giving up rice was the big challenge initially. I think it was mentally affecting me because of not being able
I
to
can
have that.
imagine.
3 weeks it was okay, and I'm absolutely fine now. And second time, the big one was that was the big one, was giving up on chapati, because I used to have millets and chapati, and I think that sudden switch didn't work for me. Other than that, Ruma, I think exercises, I never, touch wood, never had any issues which actually thwarted my progress, or came in the way. I was very cautious. I was breathing very
Wonderful.
deeply. This is one thing I learned, is when you exercise, you need to breathe the
Yeah.
right way.
Mhm.
So that's it. Yeah, your instructions, Ruma.
No, wonderful. I love hearing it from you. It reinforces it for me as well. Absolutely. Thanks so much for sharing that, Esha. Now, if you could also, another thing that I believe is that health is not singular. You cannot isolate health. When we are healthy, it works across, right? It is a full circle. So, if you can share with us, how has this journey with Navitai been? How has it transformed your overall, has it at all, one is, has it at all transformed you as a person? Has it bettered your relationships? What other areas of life it would have impacted? And if it has, then what were they?
Absolutely, Ruma. It has impacted, and it has impacted in the most amazing way. I think not just the things I learned, the things about holistic well-being and good health, but I also actually understood how everything, all aspects of our well-being work in sync with each other. So there are people who do only exercising, there are people who only do dieting, who only stick to certain things. I've really understood and seen that with my own body, that it's sleep, it's exercise, it's hydration, it's eating well, it's sleeping enough, and staying positive, how these are part of, the spokes of the same wheel. So the wheel of well-being doesn't move unless all the spokes are in place and in sync with each other. So I
Mhm.
think that was the biggest takeaway for me, and that I've been sharing shamelessly with everybody, because everyone, whether it's friends, family, I don't shy away from advising. Very recently, I actually advised my uncle, who is now retired, he's 70 plus. He has not been getting enough sleep at night. And I said, tell me one thing. Uh, do you have your phone with you when you go to bed? And he said, yes, for 2 hours, but from today I will not. It's like,
So you're a positive change in your family as well,
yes,
Esha. That
I'm
is so
doing that for friends. I'm sharing bits with people, Ruma, because not everybody can commit. But one thing that you always say is that you want to impact women's lives for the better, and you're doing it through Navita. I said, I don't have Navita, okay, but I have my little learning that I can share with women I meet,
yes.
come into interact with every day. And I've been telling them that exercise, drinking water, sleeping enough. Sleep is such a, people don't even take it seriously.
Yes.
What you mentioned about, good health. And I think I can see that people have started thinking. So I think that's the positive. I always share the link for your, the webinar. So, if you want to commit, that is the thing. But otherwise, these are the tips.
Yes,
And it
absolutely.
has impacted. It is my son and my husband, Ruma. I have to thank you for that. They have been motivated to start their fitness journey. They are into I think, 2 months now. And Sam has been instructing them. So I think my inspiration has come on to them.
Come on to
And always says that you inspire us.
you rock, Esha, you rock. And that is, and that is such a heartening story to hear from you, Esha, because if our family is impacted, people are getting inspiration from us. We are the role models. I think we have given back something, we have paid it forward. So I see it that way. Whatever
Yeah.
we can do from our bit, I have Navita and you have your journey, Esha, to share with your friends. So whatever we can do within our, capabilities and within our strength areas, I think, that
I
is
think
great.
that is what, when you are saying how it has impacted, I think it has made me a happier person.
Mhm.
It has made me feel good that I'm in somewhere, I know I'm able to help them. I think overall, when I sit down to write, I feel better when I have exercised. I have
Mhm.
more creative ideas when I feel I've exercised.
Yeah.
And I do riyaz in the morning some days, 3 days a week. When I do the riyaz, I do the vocal exercise. I know, okay, yes, drinking water. So it's helping. They're all helping each
They're
other.
all helping. Yeah, they are all connected. So that's
Healthy
that's
habits.
such a great takeaway, Esha. And Esha, if there was um, one tip from you or one message, let me say this a little differently. If there was one message for the community, what would that be?
I would say, look after your health. This is for the women, for all the women, and for everyone. But since program is geared towards women, I would say, women, take note only when they hit a wall, when there's a problem. Don't wait for the problem to appear. Rather than be reactive towards your own well being, be proactive. Do things. There are people around, there's information available everywhere. Exercise, eat well, take time to do something for yourself, and make your well being your priority number one. That is all.
Wonderful, Esha. Thank you so much for sharing that very, very thoughtful message. And I'm sure the community that we have, the warm community, will gain a lot of inspiration from you. And, we will see many more successes in our community. Thank you so much for your time, Esha. It was lovely talking to you. And thanks for all the message and the words of inspiration that you shared today. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much. And
thank
more
you.
success to you, Esha.
Thank you so much, Ruma. Thank you. You are my guru on this journey. So thank you.
We are partners in this journey, Esha. See you. Take care, Esha.
Thank you. Thank you, Ruma. See you. Bye.